Hi, everybody. Welcome back. As you can see, we have a guest in the studio. Right there. Yes. That handsome guy sitting right there. So welcome to the new year. Jay and I are very excited about what we're going to be doing this year in terms of the podcast. As you can see, we're starting it off right with a star.
I don't know about that.
Nope, you're going with your star. But first, I wanted to give a shout out to Mission Tea. What they're doing is they're doing a no coffee challenge. So they did this last year with about 100 of their customers. Through it, 90% of them said that their energy levels improved. 80% said that there was an improvement in how they were feeling mood-wise. And then about 50% said that there was an improvement in sleep quality. And this is just more of, instead of drinking coffee, just drink a tea, green tea, black tea, kind of whatever you want to drink. But if you go to their website, Mission Tea, and use the code Duckworth10, all caps, or Duckworth15, you'll get 15% off your order. So I recommend giving it a go. Yeah. Jeremy, you want to introduce our star?
Our guest with us today is Paul Merca. Paul Merca goes way back. Paul Merca is a writer. He is a announcer and also a photographer. Seattle-based, UW alumni, right? Communications major? Yeah. Absolutely. And you can find his publishments he's wearing it right now, paulmerca.blogspot.com. Welcome, Paul.
Well, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for reaching out. We were like, yes, we need him on the show. So, wow. Paul has been at the start of my career at UW, day one in the Dempsey.
You knew even skinnier Taiwo.
Even skinnier Taiwo, but the one voice, if that's possible, the one voice I would hear over the intercom announcement was that of Mr. Merca. So I associate you with crazy performances in the meet, getting down to the nitty gritty of points and also times for qualifications. Usually when your voice comes on, it's some drama is about to happen or some drama just had happened. So
you're saying it's not a good thing.
Well, it's a toss-up for track and field, yeah. So how did you get into track and field?
Well, it goes back to way back into the 70s. I was, right after the 72 Olympics, if you can believe that. I watched that on ABC with the voice of Jim McKay. I was in about the 7th grade, and I saw the Munich Olympics. So, and one of the things that stood out was obviously Dave Waddle winning the 800. I'm watching this on a little 13-inch black and white
TV.
Yeah. And then I started in track about the 7th or 8th grade at Sharpless Junior High School in South Seattle, and awesome. Then under a guy by the name of Shig Tatsumi, who I would 10-15 years later, I ended up coaching with him at Ballard High School. Awesome. After that, I went to, after Sharpless, I went to Franklin, graduated in 1977. So I'm 43 years removed from high school. And I was a decent distance runner. I mean, I was like, I ran 4:40 in the mile and ran
awesome.
About
better than me.
Two flat in the 880. Yeah. Then I walked on to the UW, not knowing what the hell I was getting myself into. I walked on, I ran cross country, and then I happened to also be the team manager for the track team. Yeah, so, for sure. I realized that Pac 8, Pac 10 level competition was way up there, and I was like down there. So, but I think one of the things it was the stick-to-itiveness. I mean, like most guys would have said, "Screw this," or just go on. But I liked being around in the sport.
In the sport, yep.
So
in the environment, it's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kind of addictive.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That is for sure.
Awesome.
So after that, after graduating in '81, I worked in an ad agency, and then ended up working in 1984 for the local organizing committee of the Olympia U.S. Olympic Marathon Trials.
Awesome.
And this was the first time that the marathon for women had been put in the Olympics, and so Laurel and Brent James were the founders of Super Jock and Jill out on Green Lake. They put a bid to host the Olympic marathon trials, and there's some great drama. A couple weeks before the trials, Joan Benoit Samuelson had to have arthroscopic knee surgery. Somehow, a couple weeks after surgery, she wins the Olympic trials and goes on and wins the marathon at the '84 Olympics.
In LA, yeah.
And then,
How is that? How do you have surgery and then go run a marathon?
Must have been something in the knee there, really.
Yeah. I mean, it's you'd have to ask Joan herself. It's like we people on our staff just couldn't believe that this was happening. But then all of a sudden she shows up, she wins the trials in Olympia, and then a couple months later she wins the marathon at the Olympics. Sure. And I think your dad was in that 1984 Olympics. So
How was the setup, the course for the Olympic trials for the marathon down in Olympia?
Well, it was on a loop course. It started and finished by right around Capitol Lake, I believe it's called, and it went. It looped around the cities of Olympia, Tumwater, and Lacey.
Okay.
So I think the north end of the course was kind of by St. Martin's University.
I know what you're talking about.
And then it just it was basically a big circle.
Right, but
around.
as flat as you can get it, right?
Yeah.
Because that's one of the tough parts about this area. It's like you
Yeah.
can't really get that many
That's what I was thinking.
non-hilly places.
Yeah.
It's like that's gonna be nice and
That's not a fun marathon to run.
And here's a little fact: the woman who was fourth in that race, her daughter, some 20, 30 years later, is running for the UW. Yeah.
Wait, what?
Katie Rainsberger's mom was fourth.
No,
Really?
She was fourth at the Olympic trials in '84.
Wow.
She was fourth in '88.
Wow.
And
Don't say fourth again.
in '92.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. So
Oh, that's where she gets it.
Yeah.
if there's one thing she probably tells her daughter, it's like, let's go.
Don't come forth.
Let's go. You got to finish. Come on.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's cool. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
And
going to
so,
talk to her next time I see her.
As a result of that, I was basically the statistician.
Yeah.
For the trials committee.
Yeah.
And this is pre days of the internet.
Yeah, this was on a
that was when you flicked through
a
books.
booklet,
Yep,
and you're
yep.
just going through and
you
just,
went through track and field news. It's like in the 6 months I worked for the trials, my entire collection of track and field news, which went back to the mid 70s, was in the office. I had to look stuff up.
I guess the good thing about that is, unlike nowadays, you could kind of like ramble off some BS and maybe it'll like slide underneath it. Nowadays, you couldn't do that. I'm gonna be like, nope, that's wrong. Pull out my phone.
Yep. Nope. Absolutely.
Wow,
And
very true.
that, since ABC Sports had the rights to that event, and they also had the rights to the Olympics and all that, I ended up working freelance for them at the Olympic trials in Los Angeles, which is sort of how I got into working in television freelance.
Awesome.
So
That's really cool. You go
my-
down there and you can become a star.
Yeah, well,
He's already a star. He's on these podcasts.
That's fine.
Come on.
My first event working freelance for ABC was the 1984 NCAA Track and Field Championships in Eugene.
Okay.
And one of the commentators on that telecast was a guy by the name of Orenthal James Simpson.
No way! Are you serious?
Orenthal James Simpson.
What?
He was the.
He was a commentator for the NCAA championships.
Yes, he was.
Wow.
Yeah. And here's another fun fact. The next week, I'm in San Jose at the U.S. Championships. Remember, up until the I believe 92. I'd have to double check that, but up until 92. The U.S. Championships and the Olympic trials were two
different
separate
meets.
meets.
Wow, that's crazy that they did that.
Yeah. So anyway,
That
so
doesn't make sense.
we're yeah. Well, so I'm there. I'm working for ABC as a freelancer. Basically, I'm like a freaking gopher. We're in a car, going to the meet. It's one of the camera guys. And OJ in the front, and I'm sitting in the back seat with Nicole.
Wow, that is a memorable ride.
Yeah,
That's not something you don't hear every day. Wow.
yeah. So there you go.
That's crazy. Yeah, you get down there and you just become a star, right?
And you fast forward this to 1994, and I'm actually with your dad at the U.S. Championships in Knoxville, and I think I remember I was in a restaurant during the 94 U.S. Championships. We're supposed to be watching the NBA Finals. The Knicks and Houston were in that, and then it gets interrupted. There's a white Bronco.
There's a white Bronco. Freeway.
Hey, wait a minute.
Hey, I know that guy. Oh, man.
I think I sat next to him at some point.
Wow. Yeah. So, gosh, that's crazy. That makes me think, just like how has the popularity of track and field in that 70s, 80s, 90s decade, what does that look like? What does that evolve like? How do they pull these announcers from just like completely different sports?
Well, I mean, it's like everybody forgets. OJ was on the 4x110 relay team that set a world record in 1967. Among the I believe Lennox Miller was on that team. I don't think it was ever ratified as a world record because Lennox Miller was from Jamaica.
Yeah. Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah. So there were some foreign athletes. So so that couldn't get ratified. But I mean, and obviously, OJ was on the downside of his football career, and I think he wanted to transition into broadcasting
and help that image for
and
sure.
he was he was in broadcasting for basically until until the White Bronco.
until that thing went zooming down the highway.
Wow, that's insane. Yeah. Just even more. What have been some of like your favorite moments in the sport, witnessing wise?
Because you've done a lot of world championships, Olympic games. Is it just broadcasting, or is it broadcasting and photos?
Broadcasting, photos and writing, all of the above. I've been to. Let me put it to you this way: I've only been to 2 Olympics, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I was in Atlanta. And I was in Athens. Those, believe it or not, those are the only 2 Olympics I've been to.
So did you see our coach vault?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. In fact,
That's cool.
I took a picture of Toby in the stands.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Is that before or after he won a silver? Because then that would tell which mood he's in.
that was after he won.
He may not have been too happy at that point.
He's got the flag up. I'm basically sitting, since I kind of weaseled my way.
Shouldn't necessarily be.
Yeah, I mean, but then again, people, they weren't checking.
Yeah.
So I was sitting basically with the group of coaches, in that coaches section.
Yeah. That's cool.
So yeah, I did see Toby get his medal.
Yeah. That's
So.
awesome. What was that like the local feel, the meat feel for that atmosphere in Greece? Like returning back to, as you can see, even Tim wearing just the Greek god like statue shirt. Like people felt like they were returning back.
That's not a Greek god. That's me.
That's it. Yeah, there you go.
Don't you see those abs?
But what was that like? Because there's a huge story with Tom Pappas being, one of the U.S. decathletes, and they're going back to his Greek heritage.
I know the Greeks felt like they got screwed over in '96. They felt that they should have had it, but through the IOC decided to put it in Athens in 2004. I was actually at the '97 World Championships in Athens, and that was a couple. The World Championships were held a couple of weeks before the big presentation to the IOC.
Okay.
And I tell you what, the Greek, it's one of my most memorable.
That's it.
On the Olympics, 2004 Olympics, they campaigned for it hard.
Yeah.
And in 1997, the Greeks hosted the World Championships.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, they treated the media like kings. So I'm working as a researcher for NBC, and it was hotter than hell. But during the breaks between the morning and evening sessions, they opened the Olympic swimming pool in the complex.
Yeah.
And all the food you wanted. If you want,
You're
whatever
like
you wanted.
Some demigods walking around
Yeah.
with your little bowl of grapes in the water and stuff.
Have somebody serving you them.
Whatever you wanted,
Yeah.
you had it. And then, if you want to hang out in the pool, just if you wanted to hang out in your Speedos, media, all the media guys and gals are out there during the breaks between the morning and evening sessions.
Just living life.
Yeah, I mean literally. And they threw probably one of the best pool parties. This was before the meet started.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
I remember one of the things I do remember was some media guy, I don't know from what country he was from, decided to go off the 10 meter board.
That couldn't have ended
Oh my
well.
gosh, you guys are wild. How was the dive? Did he get out of the water after
Yeah, I was
that?
about to say, is he still alive?
Did he get help?
He's still alive, but I think just about everybody who was there is holding their breaths like, what the hell is he doing? I mean,
That's when you come out with your arms raised. Like,
and I think, and I'll be the first to admit it, the beer and the vino were flowing. I'm going to assume that he must have had a couple shots of liquid courage.
Oh, of course.
And he must have had some ouzo.
Yeah,
as
the
well.
ouzo, right? Yeah. Man, you guys know how to have fun. It's crazy. We were talking about this before you came. We've always been curious of what the whole kind of relations between media and different countries, what that's like, and even our common friend Howard Lau, he was telling me about how at the most recent where was he at? He was at it was London.
Yeah.
And he did the 800 meter media race or something.
No. I've definitely heard about that one as well.
Cool. When did they start doing that? And what other kind of perks you guys kind of?
The IAAF, now World Athletics, they've done that race. I think they said it started in 99 in Seville. 'Cause I don't remember them doing it in Athens.
Okay.
But I do remember them doing it in Seville.
Wow.
Now 2001 in Edmonton,
Yep.
I ran in it and damn near snapped my Achilles. Damn near snapped my Achilles. And the worst part, and you can look it up on my Instagram account. There's a photo of me in the Edmonton Journal the next day.
I feel like this is something that we definitely need televised.
Oh,
We
yeah,
100% need to see this media race. Because I have heard about it, but that's just because I also know somebody else that does a lot of it, and she did it last year in Doha.
Yeah.
But I definitely feel like we need it televised, an actual event that we hype up.
Needs to be. Bets need to be placed. If you want to go see that photo that Paul was talking about, you can find him at Instagram at Paul Merca 70601.
Yeah, that's actually that's my handle for all social media.
Okay.
So it's consistent whether it's Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter.
MySpace?
At Paul Merca. Believe it or not,
He still has one?
I still have one. I haven't looked at it, but if you want to look at it, it's at Paul Merca 70601.
There it is, 70601. That's awesome.
Hey guys, so this is going to be ending of part 1. This has been a bit of a longer podcast when we filmed it, and recorded it, which we knew was going to happen. So we made it into 2 episodes. This one's a little bit shorter. The next one's going to be a little bit longer, but it'll come out next week. I hope you've enjoyed some of the stories that we've gotten from Paul Merca, and that you'll tune in for the next half, which is, again, just going to be Paul explaining some of his encounters in the world of media and track and field, and the stories that he has to tell us, which have been great so far, and they get even better. So tune in next time.